Good afternoon, students. So today we are going to see about packages and how cursors and packages are going to be utilized along with them. Additionally, what are all the built-in packages supplied by Oracle? This is what we are going to see. These three topics are the outline of our today's presentation. So pertaining to the usage of variable inside the package. When we connect to the database and modify the value in a package variable, what would be the effect of that variable change, right? So how it is going to be reflected when it is going to map with the real applications. So what is the role of that slack variable present in the package? Do it have the property of persistence? That means whether it will remember what value it has stored. When we are going to close the environment, whether the value available in the variable will be retained or it will be it would be erased. So that could be the case that we are going to work with, as well as when we are going to work with the transactions, right? So doing the same type of things parallelly when concurrent transactions are going to happen, what would be the accessibility of the package variables? So that's also a portion that here we are going to look over on that. So they want to talk about the term package state. We could able to see this package state in server side environment of any type, any software. Either it may be from Oracle or SQL Server, right, or Informix, whatever may be the environment, that we could able to see the package state, right, in terms of variable usage, in terms of functions or procedures available within the package. So everything that I could able to visualize it, right? So that could be the term called package state. So here they are ready to cover. They are ready to cover with the package status. What about my initialization contents available in it? What would be the property of persistence with respect to my uh, contents of the package, right? So whether it is stored in any separate memory area, how I will remember each and every session. Do I have any feature of session tracking? How we are saying in our JSPN servlets, do we have any feature of that session tracking, right? So whenever any types of procedures or programs or variables available within the package are being changed, that it could be reflected. So all these five initialized contents are going to be focused on the package state, right? So through the package state, I could able to read all these behaviors. Apart from that, even this package state is common for packages supplied by the Oracle as well as the package created by us. So it's applicable for both of us, both of the contents, right? So it's not restricted to only for a system defined. It's applicable for user defined one also. So here they are narrating with an real procedure, right? And you could able to see that they are creating the package, right? Package name is pers-pkg. They are declaring a variable inside the package and they are calling the procedure within the package. Okay, they are calling the procedure. So procedure is going to be upd underscore g underscore var. So the argument is a number. right? So they have created a package with a variable and with a procedure. Again, they want to elaborate that corresponding package. Now they are writing the package body, nothing but they are going to elongate the procedure. They are writing the procedure. What they are writing the procedure? Within the procedure, they are assigning the current value with the value what they are receiving through the argument is being allocated towards the local variable. What is the local variable we have given within the package? G underscore var, right? So by that they are closing the package body. Now they are giving execution permission for two users. One is for Scott, second one is for Jones. So they could able to execute that first underscore package, first underscore pkg package, right? So now they have the call permission to execute this procedure. See the package state that is being accessed by them, right? So there will be a time delay will be there, but whatever that they have given over on this thing, that will not happen practically, right? There will be a time delay will be there. What would be the state for Scott, for user 1 and for user 2? So everything will happen here. So for the users, for the event triggered by Scott and for the event triggered by Johns, that could be mapped with my corresponding free area, right? So it could be like your heap, right? So whenever that I am going to access my free data area in the memory, the existing variable will be replaced with the newly supplied variable. That's it. So based upon that concept only, whatever the value that is going to be supplied by the person, that will be updated by default, right? So that's the idea that they are going to proceed over here based upon my time, based upon the time that I am executing. One user is executing a value and another user is supplying another value. Will which one value will be available in the corresponding variable? That could be the clash happening there, but always there will be a time delay, right? Remember, always there will be a time delay. So time delays will be more prone to the real-time environment actually. So no need to worry about, there won't be two events will not occur in the same timeline. At least 9:30 colon 001, 9:30 colon 02. Always there could be a time delay will be there while any event is going to occur. Right, so that's the stage that they are ready to explain in this package state. But don't worry about that time delays. It always in practical, it is not possible for us to work with the same variable at the time. Anyway, one variable will be or one process will be actuated by the people at the time. And remember that I think you know about the critical section in operating system. Critical section in operating system will ready to preserve the region till the process is utilizing that environment, right? So likewise, only here also the package variable will be managed by the cursor environment ultimately, because for cursor we will define the cursor name. Cursor name will take care of the, or cursor variable will take care of the package content ultimately. So it will not take much more time to avoid the clash of access. That's the interesting thing, that the cursor and package is ready to combine and provide as a solution. See, the reason to introduce the cursor along with the package here is who will take care of the package state. That's the ultimate thing. So that could be managed through my cursor, right? So cursor is nothing but it's like a previous level of my buffer, right? Especially in Oracle. The previous level of my memory area management, apart from my buffer, is something interesting to work with. Especially in Oracle, for managing these cursors, we have been given with a lot and lot number of built-in supplied identifiers. So through that, I could able to manage it in a easier fashion, right? That could be the main thing. So what I have to do, I have to declare a cursor. Next, I have to open the cursor. So within the cursor, I could able to store the data inside the cursor. Then I could able to do manipulations over on the data available in the cursor. After completing my operation, I could able to retrieve the results in a cursor variable. Through that variable, I could able to display it towards the console or towards any other file system. Finally, I will close the cursor. I will come out of the environment. This is the procedure to use with the cursor, right? So in that case, I have the built-in suppliers are being available as percentage row count, percentage found, percentage not found. These type of things will help us to manage the exceptions also at some stage, right? So we'll be seeing them as normal value fetches, but don't think like that. Exception handling mechanism is being incorporated in the package and cursor in terms of these built-in Slack variables, right? So that's the good thing. So how could I able to incorporate my state of exception mechanism along with my cursor and package, right? So while I'm going to create my package, so what I have to do, I have to create my cursor also. So cursor here it is creating a variable called emp underscore curs. This is my cursor variable. What that variable will holds, there is a query. Select employee ID from employees order by employee ID. So it is arranging based upon the number. Assume that employee ID is a number. So based upon that, the results of employee ID from employees table will be stored in the alphabetical order or in the ascending order in the emp underscore cursor variable, right? So now the procedure will ready to open underscore curse. That is the procedure, right? So procedure will close there itself, close underscore curse. But within that procedure, what I am writing a function. What it is going to do, it is going to fetch n rows from the corresponding the cursor value, right? So that's the thing. So here they are passing n value as 1, and finally if it is ready to fetch means it will return boolean as true. It is going to retrieve false means ultimately there are no records are fetched from the query. That's all. That could be the thing, right? So there itself I am validating my cursor results. I am validating my query results through cursor, right? This type of management is somewhat seems to be dramatic, but the thing is, in the real-time environment, it's mandatory for me, right? So by applying filters, I am finding out an item in a shopping cart means at some time item will be available, but the filter will not work properly. In that case, that the item requested by the customer will not be visible in the corresponding environment, right? So what does it matter? The matter is we don't blame on the filter, but the thing is exception mechanism what we wrote to make the filter to be active, so that has to be void. That's the reason why the item will not be displayed. So to overcome that, an advisable one is why don't we declare the cursor variable while we are going to create the package, as well as what the cursor need to do, what the function need to do that could be activated within that environment, right? So that's a interesting package specification that we mentioned over on that. So now I am ready to elaborate and write that package body. Initially I have given that package. Now see that I am ready to expand that content. So if I'm not going to get that corresponding cursor variable, so ultimately I need to create it and I have to open it up. Already opened, no issues. So what I have to do, I have to declare the row type. Okay, percentage type is nothing but the row type. I'm ready to give the data type for my record, complete record. That's what percentage type. It is ready to give me the percentage type. Okay, using the for loop, I am trying to iterate in the corresponding cursor variable. For example, it had retrieved some 15 records means 15 employee numbers will be available over on that. For that, I am trying to iterate this for loop, and so whenever I am not going to find any value, automatically it will quit and it will come out of the loop, and how many corresponding records are available that is being stored out, and finally it will return the number of values that what it had fetched. Okay, so at the final stage that we are closing the cursor using that. If it is open, I am going to close it. So using a normal if loop. It's a it's a very it's a very efficient way of managing my package along with the cursors. So that's the thing. By yielding, package plus cursor will issue me a very good exception mechanism to manage it. Right. So that's what being explained over here. Right. So we are opening the cursor, we are fetching the rows, and we still the time that data is available ready to fetch. So when no rows are available, automatically it will come out of the loop. Right. So that's what the thing. See, ultimately, cursor is going to behave like your vector variable. It will ready to store the record as it is. Okay. You can iterate between the record using for loop. It could be like a temporary storage memory area, your cursor. That's the thing. That the initial level of your buffer, right? So buffer is going to be something raw, but cursor is going to be a what do you call a moderated buffer. That's the thing I could able to give over here. So how could I able to call? So that's also being given over here. I could able to call using the corresponding package name dot corresponding. So fetch underscore n underscore. This is the function that initially I wrote. So I could able to retrieve the corresponding row also. That's also being possible. A specific row also could be able to ready to display. That is also being possible here. Right. So that's what being repeated here. So summarizing this, so what we have seen. If I need to introduce the property of persistence, that means what does my variable will remember. So what I have to do, usage of package alone will not give you the persistence property. Package as well as cursor only will yield you the property of persistence. So ultimately, cursor variable will behave like a temporary storage area. So within that variable, I could able to iterate using control structures, and I could able to fetch my data. I could able to modify my data. I could able to do any manipulations on the corresponding data. That's the ultimate aim of this chapter, part A. Right? In chapter 11, part A is talking about package state. Right? Contents of packages, how they are going to manage. Second portion of today's session about the built-in packages. Right. So the overview will be coming like this: dbms underscore output, dbms underscore output. So whenever we are going to use our put underscore line, nothing but a display console function that what I'm going to use will cover with this package because it's available within that. As well as the second content is utl underscore file and utl underscore mail. So these are all the utilities based supplied packages pertaining to the file functions as well as the mail environment. So here mail is also considered like a directory. Don't forget to remember that. Okay. So we'll see one by one. Could be able to see number of interesting diagrams. Yes, this is our main screen. So dbms underscore lob. So nothing but it is ready to supply the binary data types actually. Right. So I could able to work with character stream. I could able to work with image type of data using blob and b file, right? Using with image pointers binary file. So lob means large object binary file. So it could able to work with the character as well as binary images as well as binary files. So these things will ready to support for that lock. Right? Lock is something interesting to work with. Even I could able to work for constraints. Even I could able to work for constraints. That's also a major thing, right? Even I could able to go for logs for my table, for row, for column. All these things are applicable. I could able to supply a row log, column log, both are applicable, right? So that could be the interesting feature of that log, right? So output dbms underscore output will ready to supply me the what do you call debugging messages, right? So that's the ultimate thing. So HTTP, so that's purely used for when we are going to use our cursor area for HTML data. That's the thing. So UTL underscore file, it's purely based upon system programming, purely based upon system programming pertaining to file systems. Okay. So UTL underscore mail, it is similarly like your mail command in your Unix or Linux system, right? The same thing that it is ready to perform here. We'll see it. And finally, DBOS underscore scheduler, right? So scheduler is nothing but actually it's a built-in one completely. Might be the control of accessing those things will be something would be very tough from the user or a developer end, but it can be managed through programs. That's a major case, right? So when we are going to work with multiple transactions, I could able to manage with this DBMS underscore scheduler. So that's the uh, important thing that we have to remember here. Right. Here, I want to convey you a point that in the slide you could able to see private memory area, right? Private memory area. By default, I will be telling you there will be a built-in cursor always, right? Even though we are going to create a cursor for our own package management, for every built-in package management, there will be a cursor. That one we call the cursor can be accessed as a private memory area, right? So that could be the point. Packages will not communicate directly. Built-in packages will not communicate directly. What they will do, using the predefined cursor area, they will drop the results in the cursor area. The other package will lift the corresponding output from the cursor area. That's the thing that they want to focus it upon. Right. So some of the things that it is ready to work with how dbms underscore output. So new underscore line, put underscore line, get underscore lines. These are all nothing but read and write statements pertaining to my dbms underscore output buffer. So how I am going to manage with it, right? So that's the interesting thing to work with. So see that it has been demonstrated very clearly, right? They are mentioned as buffer. Ultimately, it is not a buffer. It is nothing but the built-in memory area or built-in private area, or could be called as built-in cursor, right? We don't want to use it interchangeably. Buffer and cursor, right? Buffer is a it's a raw memory area. Raw memory area cannot be used by any programs. Please remember that it would be customized and make it as a proper data structure. So the data structure for buffer is nothing but cursor for any PL or SQL programs. So that is the thing. So to read, I have to use get line or get lines. So to display, I have to use put or put underscore line. That's the thing. New line means I'm ready to bring the cursor towards the next line. So that's the pictorial representation of this. So dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. So it is ready to display the value what I have given within uh, single quotes, and the second one is going to be given in the two lines, and as well as it is ready to introduce a new line. Second one, we have a small PL bar SQL program that we are declaring two Boolean values and one number. So within the loop that I am ready to check else if along with the Boolean operators, it is ready to fetch me the results depending upon the value that what I am ready to give over on v underscore bool 1 and v underscore bool 2. Depending upon that, I will get a value, right? So this is the interesting thing. So the usage of corresponding contents are being produced there. So the ultimate AWS DBMS underscore output means what my query is doing or what my PL bar SQL program is doing. I need to know that, right? The compiler need to inform the user or developer what actually our program does. Either it's ready to give the input or it's having some syntactic or semantic errors that must be displayed properly. Right, and they are see how you have to use proper way of using, right? So normally we will give a string as it is within put underscore line. No, that's not the way to use. That is what they want to give here. You the professional way of using the corresponding put underscore line. So if you want to pass or this would be useful when you are going to write the exception handling. If you are going to give any user defined message for the user, that user defined message must be assigned to its a variable. Only that variable will be passed as an argument towards the put underscore line. You should not give the message directly. That is their advice. So ultimately, we are talking about when I'm going to run this corresponding procedure, so it will ready to give me the value, right? So you will be able to see that they are not assigning the value directly for the parameters. Okay, it is assigned to the variable. Variable is passed as a parameter. Finally, that parameter is going to be mapped with the corresponding string value, right? So that's the interesting thing that they have used when they are going to work with the debugging operations. Yes. UTL file package. So what would be the role of my UTL file package, right? So especially to write, I think we have file programming in C, C++, Java, and Python, right? So we have direct, for example, to work with the Java, we have IO streams. Through that, I could able to run my file programming easily. Likewise, in PL bar SQL, that if I need to work with the file programming, I have to use this UTL underscore file. So that's a major thing that you have to use here, util underscore file. That's a very simple content that you can understand about util underscore file. Right? So how I am going to write a good file programming? That's what they have given. So I'll open a file, right, by mentioning the corresponding directory and file name and the mode of opening. Either it's going to be a read or write or append. What type of mode that I'm going to supply, and I'm ready to get the lines from the text file. Still the text is going to be closed, and I will be iterating it. So once it is going to be received, I am ready to write it in the console, right? So get underscore line will be helpful to read data from the buffer using the file handler, and it will give me the size of the data available in the buffer as well as. Likewise, the same thing will be applicable. I think here there is no need of my buffer, sorry, the length, because while it is going to write into the put in the destination side of the buffer or the cursor area, automatically it will compute. No need to know about the length. By default, the value available in the destination side data will be displayed, right? So that's the interesting thing to know about that. So once if I have nothing to read or write, automatically I have to close the file pointer. That's the thing that I have to work with. So here the parameters as being specified are for fopen function, the default directory and the file name to be opened inside the directory, and mode of opening. Mode of opening has been given as RWA, right? Read, write, and append. So these three variables will be helpful for me to access the data depending upon the content. So read means I could able to read only permission. I could not able to edit any data. So write represents that I could able to replace what are the contents are available in the environment. Right? A represents that I could able to append. So what are the contents are available, I could able to add at the end of the already existing content. That's the case that here we are talking about. Yes, here I think this is an important thing with respect to your MCQs. Maximum input record size is 1023 bytes. It represents that 0 to 1023, right? Nothing but hardly you could able to work with 1 KB, right? So that's the idea behind the size of your record. So please remember that the size of your record in a corresponding Oracle package, right? Make it to be 1 KB default content size. Okay. So these are all some of the exceptions are being raised in the built-in one. Invalid path, nothing but I could not able to find out absolute or relative path of the to access the corresponding file or corresponding query or whatever may be. Invalid underscore mode, nothing but instead of RWA, if I'm going to supply any other mode, it will supply this exception invalid underscore mode. Invalid underscore file handle. File handle is nothing but the object that what I will use. So what I will do, file, I will create an object called F. So whenever I'm going to open a file, whenever I'm going to close a file, whenever I'm going to modify a file, I will use that file handle, right? That's the thing. So invalid underscore operation. We have only limited number of operations are allowed upon the file data. So if I'm going to use any other operation apart from that, ultimately it will raise exception. Read error and write error. When it will happen, ultimately, suppose if the buffer is empty, you are trying to read something, that read error will come. Write error, right? I assume that my buffer is full. I could not able to write further. In that case, write error will get it to emerge. Or the buffer area would not be allocated for writing the data. In that case, write error will get to emerge. Internal error. What does this internal error represents? Most of the people will talk about this on something about system. No, internal error is not about system. It's about intermediate registers or intermediate buffers, right? For example, I'm communicating with a DB from my function, which is available in a PL bar SQL program. In that case, PL bar SQL program will have its own buffer. DB will have its own buffer, right? These people do not communicate directly. Ultimately, what they will do, the result need to comes to a VDU. So it will deposit in the VDU buffer. From VDU buffer, it will take the data and it will trigger it and it will finally present the result along with the respective podium folder. So ultimately, during the time, it will register and get the content from the uh, practiced raw area called as buffer, right? So that's something interesting to work with my internal error. So no data found value underscore error. Value underscore error, I think most probably it won't come because once the data is being validated, then only we could be able to write data. Because without our knowledge, we won't enter the data. Because for entering the data, in the insert query itself, we have customized our data type. We are going to create the data, right? So that could be the major case on this. So how we could be able to work out on those things? It's not possible, right? So that's the major case. No data underscore one means ultimately that's if you are going if it is going to be null, that represents my no data underscore no underscore data underscore one. F open and A is open, right? So how it is going to work with? So ultimately it will return true or false. Is open, right? So F open ultimately it will return a file handler for me, right? So please remember that it's a file handler for me, as well as it will open my corresponding data, open my corresponding file, right? So that's the case that they have expanded here, right? So file handle plays a very vital role, right? They are pass for the procedure, they are passing the values, the corresponding directory, and the text file name. It's easy for me to pass. See the new data type, file underscore type, right? So in the normal column, we are reading with a row underscore type or percentage type. So here we are going to use with a file underscore type. So please remember that this is the new data type that you have encountered through UTL underscore file. That is what they have mentioned us. Okay, so that's the interesting case where we are opening the file, we are writing the data, and we are generating the report based upon the system data, and finally the after every content is being issued, a new line will come. It's an interesting one that it is ready to retrieve the last name, salary, and department ID from employees table. How it is going to order based upon my department ID. So department wise, I'm fetching the employee details. So could be the continuity of the corresponding function. So you could able to see here that it is ready to generate along with the system date and depending upon the query that what we have raised in the previous procedure, it is ready to portray the mail package. Yes, that's something interesting that we have to work with. So send will enable me to send messages without attachments, attach raw attachments, right? Raw attachments. But in our normal supplier environment, Google in normal mail supplier environments, this raw attachment was disabled from the year 2005 onwards. I can't able to send any EXEs or DLL files. So no such type of things I could not able to send. Even you could try for them. Ultimately, you could not able to attach. Even till last year, I could able to attach my zip file of a exe file, attach a zip file of a DLL file, I could able to send it through me. But this year onwards, strictly that is also not being permissible because the scanners are being improved in the email. That's the thing. So, but send underscore attach underscore raw, that will be useful for me to send any blobs and B files, as well as I could able to send multimedia images also with along with text. So for that, send underscore attach underscore varchar 2. So that's also being applicable here for understanding these three procedures. So by mentioning the username that we are ready to send it, starter name, source name and destination name we have mentioned. We are sending the message, and what could be the subject body has to come. Everything that we have given, right? So what we are sending, that's very important. So send attachment as a raw. You could be able to see that. See, the maximum size of a raw file is 32,767. It is nothing but our normal size of an integer variable, right? That's it. So ultimately, large files cannot be sent using this raw files. If you want to use large system files, then you have to convert and use. That's the idea. So send underscore attach underscore raw. So this is the subsequent one underscore varchar2, right? So varchar2. Ultimately, why this varchar2 has been introduced means, so my variable size will vary, right? So that is the reason why this varchar2. Raw means no data type. Varchar2 means the basic data type of my Oracle. That is the reason why they have given this. And one more thing, I can go for my what do you call it? Boxing and unboxing. Nothing but typecasting from lower level data type to higher level data type, as well as higher level data type to lower level data type. Both are possible pertaining to this send underscore attach underscore varchar2. That's what it's being displayed here in terms of send underscore attach underscore varchar2. So that's what they have given over here. I think you can't find much more difference between the previous program and this program. See, you are having convenient to compose the entire box in terms of the program, right? So I could able to convey my sender, recipients, message, subject, attachment, everything that I could able to done through these things. It would be an easy job. So these are all the packages that we have come across in this session. So dbms underscore output, utl underscore file, utl underscore main. So these are all the three built-in packages that has been used, right? So here the packages will use the predefined cursor area that we no need to create or call on that. Once the pre-supplied packages are being called by default, those areas will need to be activated. Our results will not come to our variable directly. Instead, it will store on the available raw buffers. From there, it will be retrieved. Right? That's the important thing that we have to remember. Okay. So that's the end of today's session. I think we can't run more than this out of the packages. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session.